I came and was chair in 2003, and it's been one of the greatest experiences of my life. Certainly, I've gotten to meet Lukin, and most of the folks that went to my wedding in Thailand were other Lyceum members, and so we're really happy to be part of that. And as we'll talk about today, people who come from completely different orientations and backgrounds and political beliefs can be lifelong friends.
Am I going to get some extra words in if he speaks longer than me?
I don't see there's any reason for that.
Okay.
So we met, sitting with Marty in his year as president at the biotech conference he did in, I think, here in Austin.
Well, I was going to say there's been a lot of water under the bridge, and the bridge that we met on was so long ago. That first meeting had escaped me, but every meeting that we've had then or since has been very entertaining. Like I said, we've worked on a lot of on numerous projects together, both Lyceum and business, and I think some Mass Challenge, that's nonprofit.
Yeah, well, we'll probably talk about some of those projects.
Yes, but it's all been good. But I think that we have come to the Lyceum with the same idea as far as looking at the big picture, somewhat the same. I don't think there is any huge difference in our politics. I think that we still are in the central sphere, I think, of political thought.
So Lukin would always tell me my politics were part of the mushy middle, and that the only people in the middle of the road are the ones that get run over. So there was a political divide, not so much as, say, Molly Beth and Johnny Sutton, but still, we had distinct philosophies. But I think we have found that by comparison of real facts, and that's always a challenge for folks coming from different political orientations, that we can find lots of common ground and lots of things to agree on.
Well, as far as the middle of the road, I think you're confusing me with Jim Hightower, who said the only thing in the middle of the road were dead armadillos.
I think you quoted him a lot of times.
Yeah. And I think that's one thing I will admit that, yes, I've been involved in Democratic politics for probably almost since high school. So one of the dangers about being a partisan is that you tend to talk about the party line a lot, and sometimes you don't let facts get in the way. And I think that's one of the beauties of this Lyceum, is that you can actually have real conversations where you're not towing any party line, and in that way really learn a lot more about the subject and be able to form maybe a bigger, more whole thought about any sort of issue.
If people get locked into their political echo chambers, they kind of forget that we really have much more in common than we do that separates us. And so being able to bond over those things in common, like doing things for the greater good of Texas, are things that make it easier to discuss the things that we differ on.
Larry and I have actually also worked on a project that we hoped would benefit Texas.
Many projects, really. I mean, you were key in helping us put together that 2006 PubCon, which was the largest modern-day PubCon the Lyceum ever did. We raised $750,000, netted $250,000 for Lyceum Treasury, and impacted state policy for a decade. So that was a major project we worked on, building the largest tech accelerator in Texas, looking at all sorts of other things that were for the good of Austin or San Antonio or both, or the state, things like that. Easy to bring people together when they really care about those things.
Right. So I think that it's really the big picture that, as I said earlier, we've agreed on more than anything. It's really not, one conversation that has brought us together. Maybe like Molly Beth and Johnny. I've made so many friends, and it's really enlarged my worldview. because of it, and it's made me listen harder. And I mean harder because, in the past I'm pretty good at listening, but not always taking it all in and utilizing that information to the best of my ability. So I really take my hat off to the Lyceum and what it's done. And
despite that, we still have differences we have to work on all the time. Like, for example, I and some of our other friends collect fine wines, whereas Lukin only drinks Chardonnay. So it's like, so we have a ladies' table that he and the other Chardonnay drinkers sit at, and then we.
Well, actually, they have actually moved me in that direction. I now drink reds, even good ones. So they've helped me in so many ways. I just so grateful for my Lyceum Association.
There are some past meetings. Both Lukin has done, I have done, other past presidents have done, that really framed the most contentious issues head on. And we have had directors stand up and really be at each other's throats, but in an honest, open way. And then everyone goes out and buys each other drinks and, talks through their differences and goes on vacation with each other. And that is really a great thing about the Lyceum. So, there are always going to be bumps, particularly early on in a relationship, and you get to know sometimes those quirks, those deep-held beliefs, and you learn to give, that other colleague or friend a little leeway and just say, okay, I don't agree with that, but I'm not going to poke at it too hard because there's so many other good things that come from the relationship.
Yeah, just as an example, when we were out at Napa for one of Larry's big birthdays, we have a picture of everybody drinking Chardonnay in my honor. It was really a sacrifice for them, which I appreciate to this day.
Yeah, we're all embarrassed about that.
There's nothing like a cocktail. Sam Rayburn used that. When he was Speaker of the House, he would everybody would curse one another in public for their constituents' benefit, and afterwards they'd go to the bar that he had there at the back of the house and have a drink and talk about how they were going to, send this country forward.
So, the Lyceum is often jokingly described as a drinking club with a policy problem, and there's a little truth into that. And sometimes when I recruit someone, I say you don't have to drink to be in the Lyceum, but it helps. But joking aside, what it implies is that the personal relationships you develop in those sort of times when you are focused on socializing with or without alcohol, bond you in ways that make it a lot easier to overcome those areas where you might otherwise have friction. In places, particularly in politics today, everyone just tries to score points on each other. It's seen as a sign of weakness by both parties at the highest levels to actually, connect with folks at other party. But it is important that socialization is an important part of being able to reach common ground.